Good morning, all. Welcome to Second Unitarian Church. I'm John Broom, a member of the Board of Trustees. My pronouns are he and him. Thanks for coming this morning. Today, we're in person at the Admiral at the Lake, the 2U Sanctuary, and continuing to meet virtually using Zoom. And we ask everyone's indulgence for the complications of that three-part service. We're glad you're here, whichever way you're attending. If you're here in the sanctuary and would benefit from hearing assistance, we have devices available in the back. Check with Ricky, he can help you. We're currently seeing both a national and global surge in COVID numbers, and we encourage people to wear masks during the service. The practice prevents transmission of the virus and helps us center the needs of those who are most vulnerable. We especially welcome newcomers and visitors this morning. Finding a new community, making new connections can be challenging. And please know, we're excited to have you and look forward to getting to know you. So if you're new to us today, please, if you're in Zoom, note that in the chat or mention it in person during the coffee hour after the service. So if you'd like, there are blue mugs out there that you can use to signal to others that you would like them to come up and say hello. We also always need people in the kitchen after coffee hour, the cleanup detail, and it's a great place to meet old friends and make new ones. Our worship today is led by the Reverend Jason Lydon and Keith Akil Talley, along with Gail Gallagher as our worship associate. Music this morning is provided by Kristen Clues, Barbara Michael, Carl Kennedy, and guest artist Ronnie Malley. Our time together requires a large group of people who make possible the worship, the music, and the technical production. They're listed in the order of service, and we thank them for the ongoing service they make to our congregation. Now, next Sunday, the official end of our Canvas campaign happens. We need to make sure we have 100% of the pledges for the upcoming year. Your pledge helps us know how to budget for the year ahead. It is essential that we get 100% participation from the entire congregation, whether your pledge is $10 or $20,000. Each pledge demonstrates commitment to the sustainability of this community. Coming out of our flipped service last week, we're starting a weekly meditation group that will meet downstairs in the Spirit Playroom from 9:30 until 10:15 each Sunday morning before service. All are welcome to join this space for deep contemplation and connecting. We also want to note that the UUA has condemned violence against Gaza, urging immediate and total ceasefire. For a more complete understanding of the UUA's decision, check out our 2U March 1st Anvil or the UUA website, where you can read the statement in its entirety. I now welcome Judy Corbet to share why she pledges to our church, and then Gail Gallagher leading in our call to worship.
Hello, everyone. I'm Judy Corbet, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm short, and my remarks are going to be short, too. I've been a member of 2U for a very long time, and it's the very first church I ever joined. I had lots of reasons why I avoided church. I attended some. I even taught in a school in Japan for the Church of England, but nothing felt right. I didn't have a label for myself, but I am a humanist, and I don't believe in God. I couldn't recite words that I did not believe in, and I certainly didn't want anyone telling me I had to give them money. Yet here I am, many years later, a long-time active member. Although I'm retired and my income is not growing, it's actually shrinking, I'm happy to make my pledge. This is a place where I often hear my thoughts articulated, where I have friends from age 4 to gray hair like me. It's a place where I can ask for help or folks check in to be sure that I'm fine. I've laughed a lot, I've cried a lot, I've been disappointed and very proud. I love to sing in the choir. I get to meet so many of you at orientation classes. I love the rich history of this church rather. Do you know we go back to 1857? Ask me about that. Anyway, I love the people in this church and this church as a whole. As John said, this is the pledging season, so I'm reminding you, please don't forget to make your pledge. Thank you very much.
We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a community of children, youth, and adults, a people of many beliefs and traditions bound not by the specific list of things we believe, but the values we share. Whether you are joining us for the first time or for the 1,000th time, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. Whatever your race, whomever you love, whichever way you move in the world, however much money is in your pocket, you are welcome here. I invite you, when you feel ready, to take a breath in and out. As the music begins, let us enter into our service together.
دعونا نعيش دعونا نعيش بأمان دعونا ننسج أحلام دعونا نموت بسلام.
Thank you. In just a moment, Escher here in the sanctuary and Harris at the Admiral will light our chalices, the symbol of our faith. We light our chalices this morning with these words from Abhijit Neskar. The greatest iftar, if that word's unfamiliar to you, it is the meal shared at the end of the daily fast during Ramadan. The greatest iftar is to break the fast of apathy with the feast of affection. As we learn about and honor this holiest month for Muslims, may we be open to the great wisdom and the many wisdoms this tradition has to offer.
Our opening hymn this morning. The text of our opening hymn this morning is adapted from the work of the 13th century poet and Sufi mystic Rumi. Translated to English, the poem reads, "Wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, it doesn't matter. Ours is a caravan of despair. Come, even if you've broken your vow 1,000 times, come, yet again come, come." We will begin with a chant together, chanting, "We've broken our vows, though we've broken our vows 1,000 times." Then we will move into the hymn more as we probably know it as it's written in the hymnal, and then we'll split into a round, starting with myself, and then with Kristen. So if you're on this side of the room, you can follow me. If you're on this side of the room, you can follow Kristen. Oh, we've broken our vows 1,000 times. 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 We've broken our vows 1,000 times.
Please rise and join me in reciting our covenant. The words are on the screen. We covenant to build a community that challenges us to grow and empowers us to honor the truth within ourselves. We will be generous with our gifts and honest in our communication, holding faithful to a love that embraces both diversity and conflict. Called by our living tradition, we will nurture spirituality within a vision of the eternal, living out our inner convictions through struggles for justice and acts of compassion.
Please remain standing and join me in singing our congregational hymn, Spirit of Life.
Today is the first day of a month-long Muslim holiday called Ramadan, and I'm going to read to you a little bit about Ramadan so you can learn a little about what it's all about. Assalamu alaikum. That means, may peace be upon you. Hakim is a Muslim, which means that he believes in the religion of Islam. Islam is an Arabic word meaning peace and submission. All Muslims believe in one God, called Allah. The 9th month of the Muslim lunar year is called Ramadan. It was during Ramadan that Allah started revealing the Quran. The Quran is a holy book of the Muslims, just like the Bible is a holy book for Christians, and the Torah is a holy book for Jews. Allah started revealing the Quran to a man named Muhammad 14 centuries ago, as Muhammad sat alone in the cave of Hira in the rugged mountains of Arabia. Muslims all around the world eagerly await the month of Ramadan to arrive. On the 27th night of the 8th month, called Shaban, Hakim's parents take him and his brother and sister to the hills by their house. There, they scan the skies in the open air, looking for the thin crescent of a new moon. If they do not see it, they go back home and return the next night. On the night that they finally see the slender slice of the new moon, they point to it and exclaim, "There it is. Ramadan Mubarak, everybody." This means, have a blessed and happy Ramadan. It is the Muslims' way of congratulating each other on the beginning of the most special month of the Muslim year. During Ramadan, Muslims around the world will fast all day long. From the moment the sun rises, Hakim and his family will not eat or drink anything until the sun is fully set. Ramadan is more than just a month of fasting. It is a month during which Muslims try to clean and purify their bodies and their minds. They try to spend as much time as possible reading the Holy Quran and saying prayers. They try to help people in need, whether they are friends, family, or people whom they do not even know. Islam teaches them to be loving and caring with each other, as well as with people who are not Muslim. There must not be any arguing, fighting, or bad language. Ramadan is a time to end past arguments. Muslims say they are sorry to those they have hurt and forgive those people who have hurt them. Hakim knows that Ramadan is the most difficult month for Muslims. In Ramadan, Muslims must always be polite with one another and be on their best behavior. They must share what they have with others. They learn to control the things they want to say and the things they want to do. But Hakim also realizes that Ramadan is the best month for Muslims. They spend great amounts of time with their family and their friends, praying and celebrating with them. They go to the mosque every night and mingle with the community. They give help and hope to those who are having problems. That is what Ramadan is about. That is why Hakim cannot wait until next year. Assalamu alaikum. So kids and their parents, if you want to learn more about Ramadan and what this month honors, this book is available for checkout. I only read a snippet of it. There's much more in here. So thank you for joining me, my friends, and let's go ahead and sing the children's classes.
Each year, as we've been talking about a lot lately, we make a pledge, a commitment to support the ministry of this, our congregation. In addition to this commitment we make each year, we take a collection every Sunday so that we can share with those who are doing work well beyond our walls. In a moment, you will see a number on your screen, and you can find one in your order of service that allows you to make your contributions via text. For the month of March, we are sharing our plate with the Little Village Environmental Justice Organization. And each week, until the last Sunday of the month, we hear a bit about what that organization does. And so this morning, we have some words from Ryland.
Hello, my name's Ryland. I use she and they pronouns. And I want to talk a little bit about what environmental justice is, since we're sharing with the Little Village Environmental Justice Organization. But I think we all may have different relationships with environmental justice and what that means to us. I know until recently, I thought environmental justice was more about environmental conservation, things like the Sierra Club, or more climate change focused environment. But when I was reading more about how El Viejo started about 30 years ago in response to pollution connected to construction at the local elementary school in Little Village. There were particles disrupted during construction that were going to affect the air quality in the school, and the parents had to fight to make sure the school was safe for the children there. I know sometimes the air we breathe we can take for granted, but it's important to think about the different ways that we interact with the environment around us. So I just wanted us to guide us in a little reflection of what parts of the environment do we value and know we are safe in. To start, is it the water we drink? Can we value that? The air we breathe, the grass we may lay in by the lake? And what parts of the environment do we need to, be vigilant about and maybe concerned about? And sometimes that is also the air we breathe with pollution and transit outside, or COVID in the air, or the water around us. And another aspect of El Viejo that they share is that the environment, it's not necessarily equal in all the regions of this city because of racial segregation and class divisions. So the principles that guide El Viejo's work are intergenerational leadership that sustains community self-determination. It assumes that those directly affected have the solutions to solve their own problems, and it builds upon the existing assets and resources of the community for social change. This is a really inspiring and committed organization that I look forward to hearing more about in the next couple of months. Thank you for your time.
I invite you now to join me in reading our offertory words. The words are printed in your order of service and are on the screen. This church is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm it and enable its participation in the larger world around us. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received.
Now I want to invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Let's begin by breathing together. Try relaxing the shoulders in your beautiful body. Release the tension in your neck. Maybe feel yourself connected to the floor, your feet reaching all the way down into our amazing earth. Your back against your chair, feeling your skin against your clothes. Just notice your body, your breath. Be present into this moment. We begin always in thanks. Thankful for the breath in our lungs, the beauty of our earth, and the strength of this, our beloved community. We hold in our hearts those who care for family in ill health, those who live with grief or chronic pain, those struggling with addiction or illness, seen and unseen. We are with you. For parents and teachers, and all those whose primary spiritual practice is caring for children, we are with you. We pray for our neighbors in prison, for those who are struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty, for migrants who are fleeing and seeking, finding new homes in our city among many, we are with you. Pray for all those living in harm's way, particularly those navigating the scariness of gun violence. Pray for our planet and commit to work that will lead us away from the harms of climate chaos. As genocide and war continue throughout our world, pray that wisdom, compassion, and empathy guide the leaders of our world. May they and we be instruments of a just and lasting peace. Our lives are truly blessed by those who knowingly, with curiosity and courage, face their final days. Into this, our shared silence across space, I invite you to speak aloud the names of anyone you wish to lift up into the loving support of this community. With our deepest compassion, let us hold in our hearts those named and unnamed, those remembered and those forgotten. Let it be so. Amen and blessed be. During our ritual of lighting candles for joys and concerns, we want to continue to take care of one another. In the 2U sanctuary here, in just a moment, I will invite you forward and you can light a candle. As you end your time of contemplation and candle lighting, we invite you to use the hand sanitizer that's available. For those of us at the Admiral, I invite you to come forward and take a pebble from one bowl, hold it tightly in your hand, putting your energy into the stone, and then knowing your joys and sorrows to be shared by this community, let it go lightly into the other bowl. And for those of us on Zoom, please join by sharing your joys and concerns, celebrations and sorrows in our chat window. I will light a candle here to represent those.
وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع
We hold all of these, our shared joys, concerns, celebrations, and sorrows close to our hearts. Gail, would you share our first reading, please?
Our first reading this morning is a poem by Naomi Shihab Nye, Different Ways to Pray. There was the method of kneeling, a fine method if you lived in a country where stones were smooth. The women dreamed wistfully of bleached courtyards, hid in corners where knee-fit rock. Their prayers were weathered rib bones, small calcium words uttered in sequence, as if this shedding of syllables could somehow fuse them to the sky. There were the men who had been shepherds so long they walked like sheep. Under the olive trees, they raised their arms. Hear us, we have pain on earth. We have so much pain, there is no place to store it. But the olives bobbed peacefully in fragrant buckets of vinegar and thyme. At night, the men ate heartily flatbread and white cheese and were happy in spite of the pain because there was also happiness. Some prized the pilgrimage, wrapping themselves in new white linen to ride buses across miles of vacant sand. When they arrived at Mecca, they would circle the holy places on foot many times. They would bend to kiss the earth and return their lean faces housing mystery. While for certain cousins and grandmothers, the pilgrimage occurred daily, lugging water from the spring or balancing the baskets of grapes. These were the ones present at births, humming quietly to perspiring mothers, the ones stitching intricate needlework into children's dresses, forgetting how easily children soil clothes. There were those who didn't care about praying, the young ones, the ones who had been to America. They told the old ones, "You are wasting your time." Time? The old ones prayed for the young ones. They prayed for Allah to mend their brains, for the twig, the round moon, to speak suddenly in a commanding tone. And occasionally, there would be one who did none of this. The old man, Fauzi, for example, Fauzi the fool, who beat everyone at dominoes, insisted he spoke with God as he spoke with goats, and was famous for his laugh.
Our second reading this morning is from the book Secrets of Divine Love, a spiritual journey into the heart of Islam by A. Halwa. Ramadan is known as the month of mercy and love, when Allah's forgiveness descends upon the entire earth, realigning souls from the fire of separation towards the embrace of the divine. She goes on to quote the Quran. Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship, and wants for you to complete the period of fasting and to glorify Allah to that to which He has guided you, and perhaps you will be grateful. The month-long fast during Ramadan is not meant to be a hardship, but to foster gratitude and thankfulness in the believer's heart for Allah having sent human beings divine guidance through the Quran. During the month of Ramadan, it is believed that God rigs this month to our favor, facilitating the turn from creation to the Creator by thinning the veils between heaven and earth. It is said that it is in this month that the angels are sent to the earth and the Spirit descends to our universe, as Allah embraces the world with a divine mercy that intimately encompasses everyone. Ramadan is not only seen as a time of retreat, it is strength training for the soul. The real test of the successful Ramadan is not fasting every day, giving charity, or reading the Quran. The real test of success is who you are the week after. Ramadan was not sent by Allah to imprison and chain you. It is a divine gift that is meant to inspire and change you. Let's hear our anthem.
Allah. What is Allah? Al-Ilah, the God. Elohim, El in Hebrew. Elah, Allah in Aramaic. It's the same word. There is no special, separate. They're all together. It's all oneness. Allah, when you leave this room today, I would like you to know, is the word for God in Arabic, used by Christian priests in Bethlehem, used by imams in the mosque, just like agua is water in Spanish. Allah, el-Ilah. This is an old word. I grew up in a family that was Muslim, but through music, my father exposed us to a lot of different beliefs. So I played in Arab Christian churches, Orthodox, Melkite, Mennonite, Catholic, and many other sects. I played in synagogues, from Orthodox to Reformist, in mosques, in Sufi circles. And I realized that the one thing that binded me in my experience was sound, was music. And so it inspired me to actually put together this invocation, if you will, of a medley that combines the three Abrahamic faiths together. Yet what's beautiful about it is the services that these pieces, these hymns, come from, all happen to use the same musical mode, the same musical scale. So sometimes the things that look different are actually bound by the things that actually make us common. This is a little medley from the Jewish, Christian Orthodox, and the Muslim traditions in the same mode. Beloved of the soul.
يديد نفش of Rahman جديد نفش أبا رحمن مشو خفتها الغد صناخا يغد صفتها كمويال يشتخفي مول هدراخ احمدوا الرب لأنه صالح لإنا إلى الأبد رحمته هاليلويا احمدوا الرب لأنه صالح لإنا إلى الأبد رحمته هاليلويا هاليلويا يا إمام الرسل يا سندي أنت بعد الله معتمدي فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي يا إمام الرسل يا سندي وانت بعد الله معتمدي فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي.
Thank you. So our structure for our sermon section today is a little different than usual. This is similar to something we did a couple of years ago when Orte and I gathered together here on our chancel and had a conversation together about the stained glass windows that are behind the chancel. And so this morning, Akil has come back, who you might remember was here when Reverend Allison was with us talking about the Unitarian Universalist Prison Ministry of Illinois. Akil has graciously agreed to have a conversation with me. And we have some prepared questions that he and I have already discussed ahead of time of what it is that we're going to cover, kind of about the holy month of Ramadan and what it means. And so give us a minute to change the choreography up here a little bit as we move some chairs around and some microphones, and we'll be right with you. candles make things a little precarious up here. As we begin, Akil, would you mind briefly introducing yourself again to our congregation?
Yeah, sure. My name is Keith
I'm gonna-
Akil Talley. I have the benefit of being a part of the prison ministry in UU. Very transformational experience. I think I spoke about that last time. So I just want to thank you for welcoming me again. This has been a real treat. This whole order of service has been very enriching. And so I just want to say to you, Assalamu alaikum. All right, and so Assalamu alaikum just means peace be upon you. Actually, the word salama, the root word, comes from, means peace, but it also means security. It has a connotation of security. So, and it's also a prayer. So it's beyond just a greeting. So it's a prayer of peace and security to you. And when you respond, you say, wa alaikum salam. And until you be peace and security. So let's try this. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
All right. We've all prayed up. All right.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thank you. All right, so we have a few questions, and so we're going to dive right in. So fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. What do you see is among the transformative possibilities of Ramadan?
Allah is pretty intentional in the Quran with regard to talking about the purpose of fasting. In the Quran, it says, "Kutiba alaykum siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun." He says that I've prescribed fasting for you as I prescribed it for those who came before you, that you may learn tattaqun or taqwa. And what taqwa means is this God consciousness. And so this is the purpose of this experience of fasting, to expand the consciousness. And as a Muslim, you kind of view that through a relationship prism, like no other relationship. Like a relationship you have with an intimate partner, a wife, a sibling, you love that person. And so you communicate regularly with that person. You do what that individual, you do what pleases that individual, and you try to avoid what displeases that individual. And so it's the same thing with this spirit of life. I saw that in the thing, and that's one of the names of Allah is Al-Haya. And so that's the nature of taqwa. So Ramadan is an experience, expands this consciousness, and help fosters this relationship.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
When you and I were talking at Stella's Diner, 2U Part 2.
It was like a podcast. Yeah. Yeah. The Reverend and the Khan. You know?
You described how some Muslims find themselves crawling towards the holy month of Ramadan, almost desperate for it to arrive. Can you explain some of what that might mean?
Well, you read that wonderful poem from Rumi. That I violate that vow 1,000 times, right? And so this is how the Muslim comes to the fast, having spent a year, and he may be a little estranged, or she may be a little estranged from this relationship, right? They may be distracted from some attractions and distractions, and Ramadan is an opportunity to reconnect, and to recommit themselves to this relationship. So depending on where you are in your faith, Ramadan has a place, whether it's something introductory and you're just learning about, whether it's something that you've went far away, it's an opportunity to reconnect, or if you've been connected, it's an opportunity to take that relationship to an entirely different level. But that is the generosity of this month for the Muslim. Yeah. And unfortunately, too many of us have been a little distracted. right? And so we see this as an opportunity to reconnect, recommit, and you know, be better, have a better relationship with this power. So, you know.
When you say distracted, what do you mean?
Oh, well, I mean, life, right? The rat race, right? I've been home for 2 months now, and I'm employed now. Last time I wasn't employed, so
All right.
so I run the prison reentry program at a social service agency. So anyway, but I can feel just from being, say, in an insular environment like prison, compared to being in the world and our society and being exposed to all the things that come with it. It's a night and a day experience, you know what I mean? And so yeah, just a rat race of daily life, the stresses of daily life, the ups, downs, you know. So yeah, that's what the distractions are.
Yeah. Thanks. The first third of Ramadan is associated with mercy. Many places in the Quran, Allah is referred to as the most merciful. What does God's mercy have to do with the practice of Ramadan?
Well, I think you hit it on the point. I mean, right on point when you said that in the Quran, in every chapter, it begins with Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, and Rahma is the Arabic word for mercy. Actually, is also one of Allah's names. Incidentally, he also named it. It's one of the names of the womb. Right? Yeah. And so a lot of symbolism in that. But with regard to the month of Ramadan, the word rahmah means generosity. It means kindness, softness. And so when Allah says He is the most merciful, meaning that He is the most kind, is the most generous, even to people who say don't believe Him or even curse Him, you know, it still rains on everyone, right? And so part of that rahmah, and so part of the rahmah during the month of Ramadan is that what is generous and kindness and giving that Allah has given us is the Quran, because this is the month in which it was revealed. And so when Allah said this is the month of mercy, it is the month in which the Quran was revealed to mankind, which is a mercy to mankind. And also, it is beckoning us to be kind, generous, and giving. It's one of the parallels I liked about when I was reading the UU principles, that I haven't read the UU principles in a while, so I might get this a little twisted. But the principle of the interconnectedness, the interdependence of everything, and the generosity, the kindness, the softness that is due within that relationship. So yeah, the month of Ramadan specifically is the month of the Quran. The guidance that's contained in the Quran is the gift of Allah to humanity, and also we are charged with the duty of being kind and generous to the rest of His creation, whether that's human beings, animals, or the trees, or whatever, you know. Yeah.
It seems to me too that God's mercy is bestowed upon all.
Oh, yes, all. And as we said, the Quran begins with Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, and Ar-Rahman means mercy, and Ar-Rahim means a special mercy to those who have a particular relationship. So He gives a kindness, a generosity to all. However, there are special favors that He has reserved for those who whose relationship with Him or with this spirit of life, this power, avails them because of it, their closeness to him.
Sorry, I'm going off our script, but do you think that mercy plays a role in individual folks' practice of fasting, whether it is a feeling of insecurity or ineptitude? I think of it as somebody who fasts during Lent. I often think about how I fail at fasting.
Right.
And I need some support and love from the divine, how I understand it, which as a humanist is a bit different. But I find the need for a sense of infinite mercy for my fallibility and inadequacy. Not that I am not also sacred and wonderful, like we all are. Do you think that mercy plays a role in the challenge that the fast presents?
Well, definitely with the empathy, because fasting is the giving up, the foregoing of allowable things, food, water, sex, right, from sun up to sundown. So those things are permissible. Those things in themselves have value and are good, and you're voluntarily giving them up. And so what it does create, though, the hunger, the thirst that you experience, is empathy for those whose life's circumstances don't allow them to voluntarily give them up. That they are forced to give up clean water. They are forced to have to go without a meal, and so it creates this empathy, and thereby creating a sense of or need to be generous and kind and giving, because you understand their plight.
Speaking of kindness and giving, in addition to fasting, praying, and reading the Quran, there's a tradition of zakat. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, zakat. Yeah.
A form of almsgiving or solidarity with marginalized people that plays a large role during Ramadan. Can you share some about what this kind of giving means and how it is a practice of faith?
Well, zakat, which linguistically means to purify and grow. And so the charity is to purify your wealth from selfishness, from covetousness, and also it's a spiritual principle. You get by giving, you know what I mean? And so you open yourself up for further receiving by giving, And so that's the growth aspect of zakat. Zakat is institutionally an annual duty upon the Muslim if they have the amount that makes them zakatable. If not, then they are able to receive the benefits of zakat. So, but what the biggest thing is the informal charity in Islam. It's called sadaqah. Sadaqah, because the zakat is only a one time a year due. The sadaqah is an informal giving of charity. Matter of fact, Prophet Muhammad is recorded to have said that sadaqah is due on every joint of your body every day the sun rises. Right? And so you wake up in debt, a debt of service, you know what I mean? Every point of your being, And so that is what is probably most connected in the month of Ramadan is the sadaqah. Allah says in the Quran, I won't go to, I know we got a little time.
You're good.
That those who spend in the way of Allah, meaning that those who do anything good, there's nothing technical about that, is as if they are planting a seed, a habba, or a seed, right? And so we know a seed has amazing potential, right? So I have one acorn, but I can, with that one acorn, grow a large oak tree, which has thousands of acorns, which are them themselves. So it's a great multiplier. And so that is what the Sadaqah represents, this giving, this service, this charity, that it has the potential. It has the potential to have exponential returns by this one act of giving. So yes.
Beautiful. So while you were incarcerated, you connected with the UU Prison Ministry of Illinois. What do you feel like are ways that Unitarian Universalism and Islam can best relate to one another and even impact one another?
When you sent me that question, that was a doozy. Right? That was a doozy because there are some large gulfs there. However, there's a lot of connectivity. There's a lot of connectivity. And as a matter of fact, it was that connectivity that made UU so attractive to me while I was in prison. I'll share this with them real briefly. Prison is homophobic. Prison is very conservative. It's sectarian. You know, everybody goes to their respective corners. Prison is a lot of things. So anyway, I came across UU through having a conversation with a white, gay Buddhist, right? And so in prisons, that interaction would normally happen because we would probably be in different corners or different parts, And so he shared with me a UU World magazine, as a result of our conversation. And so I get the magazine and I'm looking at it and then I see the verbiage of priests and a reverend and church. And so I immediately, because I'm a judger, I file it in the, this is some Christian stuff, you know what I mean? Because Christians are, conservative Christian is a force in prison. Anyway, so I immediately put it on the shelf and I don't know why he gave me that, you know what I mean? So he asked me, did I read it sometime later? No. So I pick it up again and I read it and it was amazing, right? Because I could not categorize it. Who are these people? And it was during the time when they were talking about institutional racism and white supremacy and white supremacist constructs and stuff. And I looked at most of the congregation. I said, well, a lot of these people are socially defined as white. You know what I mean? What are they trying to clear the pews with this? You know what I mean? Like what are they trying to they're trying to end the church? Really tough dialogue and questions. And so there was this amazing respect for the community because they were willing to have these courageous conversations with each other for the betterment of everyone. And another thing that really stood out, and I'm kind of going off the rails here, but I just have to tell you this, that really stood out was that at least through the images and the accounts of the activity of those within the church, was that they were living their values. They were living their values. They weren't out proselytizing. They weren't out condemning. They were living their values. And so that was so attractive to UU. And so I wrote for the Pen Pal program. I had to get an eighth of what they had, So yeah. So that was my experience coming to UU. And there's some intersectionality, with Islam, because what began to happen was that I didn't want to become a raging humanist or anything, you know what I mean? It wasn't a challenge to my belief system or faith system, but what it did, it was enhanced it, right? Because I began to view the scripture in which I had knowledge of and had experience with through an entirely different prism, right? And it softened me. And because there's such a tendency to be rigid and hard, particularly with my faith. My faith is prone to that. But it softened me. And so it was an amazing experience for me. And I am forever grateful to you. Indebted to you for that. And so as we talk about charity, I would connect it, being a seed, right? The experience that I had with UU, the experience with this service today, because I'm almost confident that the grace that you've shown Islam today could not be reciprocated in that space. You know what I mean? No doubt. So, but that's a seed, right? That you are planting a seed that has the potential to have exponential returns, right? And so, so thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Akil. I think for time, we're going to wrap up there. But thank you so much, Akil, for sharing with us. Really appreciate having you back on our
All
cancel.
right, thank you. This is wonderful.
And grateful for you.
All right.
Please rise in body and or spirit. Number 186 for screens for Blessed Spirit of My Life, Shelley Jackson. Prayer song.
I invite you to rest your hands upon your hearts, clasp hands with those you're sharing your life with in these pandemic times, and hear these words from 14th century poet Hafiz. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. May we learn to love the same kind of way and with the same kind of generosity the sun expresses